All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, those who are watching this live or watching a replay or listening to this with your ears, the audio version this is the first in a long time, number of years I've talked about this podcast of financial life coaching, okay, coming off of A1 Solutions Group to help you to realize that you, my friend, listening to this or watching this, have infinite power. It's just that up until now, you've been using it unconsciously. You have infinite power, and you can use that to create the money, the credit, financial abundance, health, and life that you love. And so this is the first episode of a journey. I'm looking forward to it. And today I have an amazing guest. We've spoken before. She's interviewed me. Now get from the favor and to kind of interview her, let her speak her story. We saw each other briefly at the CLA Connected Leaders Global Summit out in Rockville, Maryland, my home state, Maryland, but from Gatesburg, but it's my backyard. I love it. I love it. Love it. This woman has an amazing story, and I'll let her get into it. So let me tell you about Elena Rodriguez. She is a leadership expert and small business consultant and a multi-award-winning speaker, best-selling author, and serial entrepreneur. She's founder of Besitos Beauty, if I said it correctly, and Show Your Crown. Elena has a strong history of turning pain into power through the art of forgiveness, resilience, and tapping into divine inner strength. She also loves lipstick. That's cool. And believes every woman needs the perfect shade of red. I like that. Do I need some red there, Elena? You can let me know. It's okay. She's built a strong reputation for proving that anyone can achieve their dreams, the right guidance, tools, and splashes of heartfelt motivation. And you learn more about Elena Rodriguez at www.showyourcrown.com. And with that being said, so Rodriguez, take it from here. How are you today? How's it going?
Hey, Matt. Hey, everybody. I'm doing fantastic. It's Wednesday and I'm alive, so that's a good
day. You're like, I made it through half the week. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
I get it.
Awesome to be here. Awesome to be here.
Yeah. You got to talk to me on your I guess show, your small business spotlight. That was fun. And Doc talked a lot more about credit. We may talk about today, but today's about you and your message. So let's start with I like to say it in the ignorant way. Who is you? Not who are you? Who is you, Elena? Like, why should people listen to you? And what makes you like? What have you been through? What's going on? Let's start there. You know what I mean?
I'm a small but mighty powerhouse.
I like that.
I'm one of those that I was just born to be like a vessel for God. I honestly was, and it's taken me I'll be 50 next month. Bring it. I feel fabulous, but it's taken me about 50 years to get it because I was always the serious one, the quiet one. I'm not witty. I'm not funny. I'm just the listener, and I'm just the wise person that holds everything together. And that's honestly who I am. I love to listen to people. I love to just be a pillar of strength. And that's why I say I'm just small but mighty. Just here to do my thing.
Do your thing. Turning 50 made a whole new decade. You know, I'll give you 31. How's that sound? Turn 31 again, right? Sound good?
Yeah. No, I'm bring 50 because we'll get into that. But when I was married, my husband, he died at 49. Oh. So to me, I'm like, you know what? Every year is, everybody that freaks out about getting older, it's like, it's a blessing because not everybody gets the opportunity. So I'm like, bring the big 50 because I feel great. So
I'll piggyback on that because I mean I'm 38 and everyone has the fear like, oh no, I'll be this age. And I got to the point I'm like, one, I made it. Two, not everyone made the 38 or 35 or 49 or 50. Then we had this pandemic. And a lot of people didn't make it through that. I survived that. The world's in a state of like, let's gamble with World War III. See what happens. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad to make it to 39 and so on and so forth, because that would change everything dramatically. So I agree with you on that. Like, it's nothing to be afraid of. I feel like we should all, I don't know the words, embrace it, appreciate it, and just accept it with grace. Appreciate it. Like, yeah, I made it, man. Like, this is good. It's another year. And then with like you're saying, like, you said it took you 50 years to get it, but like you're bringing a ton of wisdom and experience that somebody in this world is going to hear this and go, oh wow, I really love what she said, and that could change their life, and we may never know.
You may never know. And it's cliche. What is that cliche? As it sounds when people say, like, well, if God woke you up today, he's not done with you yet. But I really believe that. Like, if your
Mhm.
soul contract isn't over, then you've got something to do here. So let's just get up and do it. You got good days and you got bad days, and today is one of them. So choose,
It's a character
and
building day, is what they say.
character
And
building.
you know what though? Over my time, I've shifted my mind. This is the one thing I share with the audience that, and you would agree with me on this, that things aren't happening to you, even though that's what we're told. It's happening for you. And the question I always ask myself is like, how is this for me? And when we're going through it, it's easier said than done to say it when you're relaxed, everything's good. But when you're going through it, you're like, what the like why? Well, and then after, looking back, hindsight to say it's 2020. I agree with that. Then you look back and go, okay, I see what was going on, and it helps you to, I don't want to say appreciate the struggle, appreciate the journey more.
Yeah.
And that way you go, okay, cool. This is for my benefit. I mean, I like it, but it's not forever. Things are happening, and it's going from,
Yep.
especially with what you have been through.
Yeah.
And the story, I was like, you found out what, and then you found out what, and then there's what. It's just like there's
I
more.
Yes. And that's the thing is it's like, when you do look at it from that perspective of I don't get it right now and this really sucks and it just does not feel good, but I trust that at some point this too will make sense and it will serve me
Yeah,
well. If you can hold on to that, it just kind of helps guide you through that craziness because it doesn't make it any easier. You still got to feel it. You still got to like have the crazy emotions and whatever you're dealing with. But
yeah.
if you just hold on to, I know at some point this will all reveal itself and I'll be better for it. If you can just hold on to that perspective, it will really help you get through it for sure.
That's a lot of truth. And I remember being younger, and it's like, oh, this sucks. But then looking back, I'm like, okay. And it's one of those things where you're right. You got to hold that perspective. And when you're in it, it's hard to hold that. But if you do and focus on that every day, as I like to tell my clients, is breathe, be conscious, and go, all right, cool, and ground yourself. Then you can manage it versus like hating it, and it makes it worse.
It makes it worse. It makes it worse. And everything's in flow. Like the minute it already passed us,
Yeah,
the next one, it's like it's in constant flow. So even if things are great for you right now, they ain't going to stay that way either. So
yeah.
if you're in that low point, it's not going to stay that way. So I think it's just important to just kind of like, I don't know if you saw the movie Dune.
Well, oh yeah.
When
I've seen both. Yeah, part two,
Okay,
part
when
one.
he
They're great.
finally just shuts all the engines off and just like goes with it and has to just like let it take him where he's going to go so that he can like not break everything apart. Like it's kind of like that.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes in life you have to just go like, all right, I'm gonna trust and just take the, like, was it faith, and just kind of just go with the flow. All right, I'm just gonna go
Yep.
with it. And like and I'm gonna talk about this too as well. People talk about like the word surrender gets a bad rap. Like you can't surrender. I'm like, it's not giving up and saying, I'm not gonna do anything. You're just accepting the situation for what it is,
Yeah.
instead of resisting and hating. Okay, this is where I'm at. This is what it is. It's not bad nor good. What's the next best step for me? And
I got to
that's
plug
what's
that
surrender.
right there.
Ah, yeah, that's right. Your book.
Surrender. You say
Shameless plug.
surrender. But I mean, to me, it's like at some point you just like, how much control do we really have? Honestly, we can't even control when we're going to take our last breath. I happen to talk about death a lot because I've been touched by it, but it's like we don't control that.
Yeah.
So when you look at that magnitude, how much control of this thing called life do we really have? Now, what we do with the time, that's very different. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, like honestly, we don't even know when we're going to be like, okay, you're done. You're
Yeah.
taken out.
It's
So when you can get to that point, and I believe it's surrender in the part where when it does get so bad, when it does get really, really hard, when it's like, okay, I've tried everything that's in my toolbox and I got nothing left, but it's still coming down on you. At that point, the greatest strength that you can tap into is by saying, I don't got anything left. Now you come in, whoever that is for people. I believe in my God, but it's like, now you come in and just do your thing, man. Because if you still have me here, I got nothing left. So go for it, and I think that that's the moment of surrender for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, because the energy changes, and then from there it's like, you can just finally, like, and then I've noticed in my life too as well, when I've had it with things, I'm like, and I'm like, all right, I accept it, whatever. Then suddenly it's like, oh, it changes instantly to a reverse. It's like, all I got to do, okay. And it's funny how that works. When you're like, all right, I'm done. Like, that's when that true surrender happens. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you just accept it, and then all your stress and stuff just goes away.
It just goes away.
Well, yeah. So I really wanted to share your story, because it's interesting, because we'll talk about getting more of the finances around it, but like, what's been your story? You're growing up, and just this, like, what makes you not what makes you, why do you call yourself the comeback queen? I think, if I'm correct on that.
Comeback queen is, people kind of gave that to me when
Okay.
I started asking people, because we all have a million stories, right? We all have like that whole journey of our whole life of beat down upon beat down. And there was a chunk of mine, and we can get into that, where it was just like, oh my God, you can't make this stuff up. It just kept hitting and hitting and hitting. And I started getting into like really sharing different parts and speaking about things. And so I started asking people, based on those of you that know my story, what inspires you the most? I wanted to, for some, I thought, is it going to be like, how did I forgive the woman that had the affair with my husband after he passed away? I found out about her. That's the one that most people lean into. But what a lot of people wanted to know was how I made my comeback. Okay, that was their words. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, where did I go? Like, where did I come back from?
I was here the whole time.
I was here.
To come back. I've been here for years. That was your, like, where I've been here.
Where'd I go? Where'd I come back from? But what they really meant was, how did you keep going? Like, how did you keep going when it just kept, crumbling and piling down? So for me, there's a part where God like told me, boldly step forward and show your crown. And so to me, it's like that, just the crown is just representing kings and queens. And so come back queen, there you go. And really for me, it was because I did go through about 2 years from my husband died of a heart attack on Christmas Eve 2018. But he had a heart attack on November 30th. And so we were in ICU for 25 days.
Jeez.
And I had to make the decision finally to turn the machines off. And he lasted, I had never done that before. So I thought it was going to like happen immediately and he was going to be gone. And he actually hung on for close to 20 hours. And so he ended up passing on Christmas Eve. And that was like the start of it. Yeah. That was the start of it. And it just got worse. I thought burying my husband and grieving was hard, but it's like the aftermath was horrible. And so throughout those 2 years of sharing all my stuff, I'm not going to cuss on here, but I just put all my stuff out there. Because it's like, if somebody could just be inspired, I refused to go down, man. Like, I refused to go down. And why? Because I knew this will serve a purpose someday. I don't get it, God. I don't know why. I don't know. There's nothing more I can lose. I cannot be defeated. And I think that's where Comeback Queen came from. And it really came more from other people saying like, wow, we don't know how you did it.
You're like, well, I did it because I decided to keep going through it. I didn't just I like how you kept going. I think for a lot of people, it's like, whatever you're going through, the easy thing to do, and it makes sense, I understand it, is just to shrivel up and just let it just consume. The harder part is to face all that you're going through, all the emotions and stuff. So yeah, but if you wouldn't mind, share people like what happened after your husband, and like what you found and all that stuff. Because I was
Yeah,
geez.
it was crazy. It kind of is like one of those movies or those stories that you actually like hear about that you were married to a stranger or something. And or I didn't know my husband had 5 wives, or just something like
Yeah.
that. And so for me, I got to that point where I'm like, you can't even make this stuff up. And so after he passed, and all of that happened, like shortly after, I'm trying to go through paperwork. I had well we'll start by saying I had left a corporate leadership position to start my own coaching practice. And 8 weeks after I left my position is when he had his heart attack. So I had no job, and my business wasn't really even off the ground yet. And
Mm,
he had his own business, and he was his business. So now there's like no business, and he was a contractor. And so I didn't know really anything about what he did. And so it was like immediately people looking for money and needing this and needing that. And I'm just like, okay, I gotta figure out where we're at here. But
yeah.
he handled a lot of our stuff. And I
Yeah.
thought, cool, he wants to take care of everything. I don't have to worry about anything. Well, come to find out, now I know why. So I'm like digging through paperwork, and uh there is so much debt that I had no idea about. And we had bought our home cash in a foreclosure,
Hmm.
and I discovered that he had taken a loan out in his name only against the house. So the bank wouldn't even talk to me. Like they wouldn't even like talk to me. I had to go through such hurdles for that, but he actually used that money to pay for like a $50,000 cabin, a hunting cabin, on two plots of property in another state that I only thought we had one. But he had lied about the notary and told me because it was in a different state that there was a mistake and I had to sign again. So I'm looking at a stack of papers like this, and I'm like, I'm not going to read it again. Like, I mean, so I didn't even know until all of this that I had two plots of land that was like 30-year mortgage out on both of them. There's
Wow.
no water. There's no water built in uh, for the hunting cabin or whatever. So it couldn't sell because no bank would finance unless I put like 20 grand in to put water in.
Jeez.
Um, and then since it was in another state, I kind of was like, okay, well, I got to get this auctioned off. But we're talking, this has gone months. Like I'm just falling further in debt, having his trucks repoed. Like everything is just like, I'm losing everything. And so it went into auction, and I worked with people that were in that state, not really knowing a lot at the time.
Hmm.
And they pulled together and bought it at the reserve. So I didn't make a dime. And all of our, like, that was our retirement. That was supposed to be what was supposed to be secure. We could sell pieces off at, anyway, I walk away with nothing. So here I am in about he died when I was 44. So I have like nothing, and not even like
Wow.
nothing. And no, like time is running out on my home. So I had to move me and my sons back into my mom's house. And there I was, like literally nothing, because right after that we went into COVID.
Oh,
So
perfect
I had,
timing.
yeah,
You
I
ain't
didn't
going
have a job.
anywhere.
I didn't have a job. So I actually built my coaching practice virtually. I mean, I just did what I had to do. So I ended up with clients in like South Africa and Australia and like all over.
Oh wow.
Um, but so that's all I know. That's why I'm like, I don't even work with people here like locally in person. Everything I do is virtual. But I refused to go down, but I did. I lost everything. And that was just the money part. Okay. That was just the money part. So 9 months in, and I'm already like, I had sold my $7,000 diamond wedding ring for $500 to keep my electricity on. That's like
Yeah.
how bad it got. But 9 months in, so now we're in August. of 2019. And because he was a contractor, I needed to find a number. And I'm like, I know we have this number, but it wasn't in his phone that I had. And then I remembered, like, well, he got a new phone to keep signal at the property in the other state, but his old phone, I forgot about the old phone. Let me go get the old phone. I need to charge this old phone. And as soon as I turned it on, there was like a string of text messages, and I knew who this person was. I knew who her name was, and I'm like, Lena, don't look at it. Like, don't
You
open it.
knew who they
And I
were?
clicked and opened. And do you know, there was 5 years of correspondence, and we were only married 2.
Wait,
So
well,
she
hold
was
on.
messaging on our wedding day. He had an affair that whole time.
Oh, okay. So you were married for
We
sorry.
were together
Married
8 years.
together 8 years, married for 2, had a 5-year affair, even on the
Yeah, there were messages asking where we were registered. Should she send a gift to the house? Just
Wow. How do you one as the husband keep that going and another and be
well,
but
I look back
2 as the
now and I'm like, that's a lot of stress. And
yeah.
so having a heart attack at 49 out of nowhere, like,
That would make sense. That would make a lot of
that's a
sense.
lot of
But like,
stress.
how does a woman do that knowing you're for that long? 5 years?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
I read it. I wanted to puke. And then I thought, well, maybe I made some of that up. Like maybe that was just in my head. Like, so
Maybe.
no.
I
So let's
mean,
go
maybe
back
it's
and
a
read it
dream.
again,
You know, let's
because
go
it
read
didn't
it
hurt enough the
again.
first time.
Let's,
And I
let's
did. I actually like had to double check, like, okay, are you thinking too much into this? Like, is it really what you think it like really is? And so let's go back and look again. And yeah. Mhm. So that's where it's like, and that all
wow.
happened in the span of 2019, while I'm just trying to still be a mom too, and trying to hold my shit together. And it just,
Yeah.
that's why I'm the comeback queen.
Mic drop. Done.
Because honestly, and this is probably a little off topic from money, but what I actually did was I prayed for that woman.
Mm,
Because you can't be with somebody for 5 years in some capacity, whether in the shadows or not, and not mourn their loss, not feel, she was probably hurt by his death too. And I
yeah.
actually thought, did she have somebody shoulders to cry on? Did she have somebody to be
Hmm.
there? Did anybody, like, I figure people probably knew. I don't know, maybe not, but my heart actually went there, like, wow, did she have anybody there for her? And what is she dealing with now? And so I just prayed for her, and I never contacted her. I never wanted to make a thing of it. I never got ugly about it. I had a friend that's like, let's go, burn the bee's house down. And I'm just like, because of course you have that moment, but in
Yeah.
reality, what could be done at that point? Not a thing.
And
And
yeah, and if you had,
no,
what would have changed? Add more fuel to the fire you're already going through. Wow.
yeah, yep.
So you did something that most people, natural people wouldn't do. And understandably so, it's like you're mad and you mad at that person, but you're like, how did you do that? Like, stop and go, you know what? Before I don't want to get angry at her, but let me put myself in her position.
Mhm.
5 years, how would she feel? Does she have anybody? Like, that's I don't want to say, I don't want to say maturity. I can't think of the word, but that's like a whole new level of maturity, for lack of a better description. I can't think
I
of it.
told you,
Yeah,
God made
yeah,
me this way. I've
yeah,
always been this way. But no, honestly, so you know, at that point, it was I started asking those questions, like, well, how could this happen? How could I not see it? Why, like, how, I started asking, and honestly, because I communicate with my God all the time, and he actually said, stop wasting your precious time asking questions you know you will never receive answers to.
Yeah.
And I think we could all benefit from that. So I share that quite a bit. I heard it clear as day, and I was like, you know what? You're right. I got things to do. This is my life. I'm here. And that's when I decided, like, I'm going to talk about it. I never have spoken her name. I actually lost a speaking competition because we were tied for first place. Did you know they have speak-offs when you're tied for first place in a competition?
No.
I didn't know that either, but there's 3 of us, and they're like, okay, you have to pick a word out of, you know, this like little bowl, like draw a word, and then you get a minute on the spot, and you've got to speak, and you get a minute and on the word. And I drew the word vulnerability,
Oh,
and I'll never forget. That's the first experience that popped up, that moment of discovering this, looking at the phone, feeling like, oh my gosh, I just felt very vulnerable in that moment. So I started talking about that story, finding his cell phone and reading the thread, and I came to a point where I was almost going to say her name, and I like stopped myself, and I lost the competition because I was like, but I thought, no, my integrity is my character is more than that. Like I'm never going to bring her down. I'm never going to drag her into the mud. It's done, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm like, dang, I got a little trophy, not the big one.
You can kick back in. We could have won the big one. Said you wanted the small one. Stitch said her name anyway. Nah, that's very commendable, respectable of you to do that, because most people wouldn't. But to do that, by doing that, you save yourself, I would think, a lot of years of like grief, holding a grudge. That leads to you not being happy, diseases in your body, and you're like, nah, I'm gonna forgive and let it go now and be free of it. And that allows you to then focus on your life, and it's probably here today.
Yeah, because God actually said to me too, he said, forgiveness is not enough. Cover him in love. And that went for her too. Cover them in love. So what I did was, ironically, right around that time is when his headstone was delivered or placed. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to go and check it out and visit. But knowing this, I said my piece. I let out what I needed to him, but I also said, I will never be back. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I literally said that out loud. You know, I will never be back here. So I'm done. I had to close that door, but do I speak of it? Yes. And why? Because there's people that are stuck in that. They are in the anger. They are in the self-esteem being completely crushed. They are in the what was wrong with me, or all of those things. And it's like, if I can be here to say, like, no, you have a decision to make, and you can turn things around and make your life whatever it is you want. And so if that's part of what makes me a comeback queen, then so be it. But I speak on it. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not ashamed of it. It's not my shame, but I have forgiven him. So when I speak on it, it's not because I'm stuck in that, or I'm bitter or angry. Not at all. Not at all.
You're free from it, because then you speak on it and you're not triggered by it.
No.
You let go. And that's big for people. And people don't understand how that affects them in pretty much all areas of their life, right? Where they're trying to do your business, money. It's like you're holding on to this pain. You can only get so much of what you want until you let go of it and you're free of it. Because I remember I had a forgiveness over myself. I won't go into it right today, but it's just forgiveness is powerful, and it's a real thing, and it does have an impact on you. And when you do, man, you feel like a weight's been lifted off. You're happier. You're like, I can be me. People want to be around you again. Type of stuff.
Well, that's how I feel. I feel like I'm just like skipping along my days every day.
I can tell. Because every time we talk, you're like, hey, what's up? I'm doing this. I'm in hat. I'm in PJs. I don't care. Yeah, whatever you. I'm at the airport. It got delayed. Don't care. Woo. I'm like, she's always happy. I like that. It's like, just always smile no matter what. Today sucks. Don't care. Tomorrow's better. Woo. How was your day? Woo. Yeah. It's a good mood to be in all the time. People like that. And it's healthy versus just, staying in a funk and then making that funk your regular, like, I hate to say the word vibe, all the time, you know?
Yeah. Well, what you feed will flourish, and what you neglect will die. And so to me, I feed the positive, even on the days that are difficult, because the
Yeah.
moment you start focusing on that icky stuff, it's gonna grow.
And
It's
yeah.
gonna, that's all you're gonna see if that's what you're focused on. So it's not that I'm oblivious to hard days, or that
Yeah.
I'm exempt from, the difficulties, but in that moment, the power of the mind is like critical to redirect. Okay, you can feel this and it really kind of sucks, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
So
There you go. There you
yeah.
go. So for your and you're doing coaching now, right?
More of a consulting and
Consultant.
training.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it's called Divine Awakening, and
Okay.
it's more mastery for the called, chosen, and faithful on a
Mhm.
mission. So I'm really working with those that feel drawn to more that God has for them. And it might not make sense to them, and whether it is a small business or whatever it be. But when you just know, like,
Mhm.
I'm being pulled in this direction, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to do here. I love that spot for people.
You're like, ooh. So would you say that for you, that is it's how people find their purpose in life, I guess, for lack of a better word?
um Find, I use the scenario of pain to power,
Hmm.
because a lot of people use pain to purpose. And I don't believe that one bit,
Mm.
because I feel at least I know I always hear people say that pain to purpose. And everybody would be walking around in their purpose if that's what pain did for you. And everybody's been in pain, but
Yeah.
not everybody is living their purpose. And so I do believe pain to power, because it is that powerful that it can propel you and push you high. It can take you far. Your pain can do that, but it also is so powerful, it can hold you stuck right where you are for the rest of your life. You can stay in it. So when I talk about, leading into that purpose, really with like my book series, Surrender to Rise, it's taking that pain,
Hmm.
and it's taking those moments that could really have broken you, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And so now what? Now what? And
Right.
whatever that is on the other side of that for people. So if it is stepping into their purpose, it could
Hmm.
be, but for many, they're already starting like a small business
Yeah.
somewhere, but they, just because you're drawn to it and you know that you have a calling or a pull towards something, doesn't mean you know how.
Right.
Right. So in that small business space, I love to work with small businesses before
Hmm.
all the sharks jump in and start feeding off of them, because this industry is ucky. There's a lot of people that will sell you stuff that you don't
Yeah.
really need, or that you're not really ready for. And so I just love to get in that space where we can tap into creative flow, what makes
Hmm.
you unique, all the things. And that's kind of where my lipstick company came in, because it was just a unique way to bring more people to me that I was working with. And I love to be able to do that for other small businesses. What is going to make it unique
Right.
that nobody else is doing? Because we're all kind of doing the same work in just different ways. So,
Yeah. You had
mhm.
mentioned that about the lipstick thing. So, all right. So I'll give you like the best scenario that I can think of right now. So I'm a person, I feel like I'm being called to something. I may not be sure what that is. Like, what process do you work with someone? And for those of you who are listening or watching this, like if you're in a space where you're kind of wondering, like, you don't want to work the regular job, you don't know what it is, what can you share with them to help them get clarity on it and then things they can do to take action on it?
Well, the first thing is like when somebody's like, I know that it's something, I know I'm here for more type of thing.
Yeah.
If they don't already have a business in place, because a lot of times they're working on something that really isn't their thing. I always like to go back and ask people, if your best friend or your cousin or your sibling or somebody, if they were going to call you up and say, hey, Matt, do you got time to meet with me tomorrow night? Because I really need to meet with you on something. And you're like, yeah, sure. And you go hang out, and they're coming to you because they need your advice, they need you for something, and they knew you were the person that would get it. What are they coming to you to talk about?
I like that. It's the reverse role of what would they come to you, and then it forces you to think of women that you're good at. Da 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 da.
Yep.
Ah.
Yep. And same for me. I mean, like, you know, like I said, when I was younger, I was the one that my older cousins or my older, like everybody was older, but they were still coming to me. They were coming to me. And so that's just been a natural gift of mine. But the thing is sometimes when it's so close, you can't see it. Or when it comes so naturally that it's easy to you, you don't think it's a big deal. Because it's
Right.
like, it's just easy, but it's like, but not for everybody. So that's where those spiritual gifts come into play. And then through those spiritual gifts, then let's find out what's actually your thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big part for a lot of people. It's so many people are like, "What's my purpose?" I'm like, I don't think that's really the right question to ask. It's like I like what you said. I'm gonna start using that on people. If your best friend called you and they need to speak to you, what are they coming to you for? Because then it gets you to be specific versus the purpose thing is so general, it's so vague, and I'm like, I thought people like, well, what do you enjoy doing? Like, how do you want to feel? That's one thing, but yours is more on point. I liked it. That's different.
Thank you.
And if
Thank you.
no finish.
Well, and the other piece too is even when people are trying, especially if we're talking about business, when they're trying to figure out their ideal client. And I always love to ask, like, you know, how do you serve or what do you do? And everybody's using those touchy-feely words or using the words mindset and personal growth. And I'm like, so your friend is calling you up and saying, I really need to work on my mindset because, you know, I feel like my husband, like, no, they're not. They're like, I need to figure out why I don't want my husband to like touch me. And, you know, I mean, what words are they using?
Yeah.
And so, you know, it kind of goes hand in hand, you know?
Yeah. I like that. You're like, sir, mindset. How do you feel? And I'm like, no, you're like, cut the bullshit. What are they coming specifically for? Like, are they trauma? Are they getting
Yeah. Well, like in your case, it could be like, why in the hell, every time I try to start a budget, I'm gung-ho in the very beginning of the month, but by the end of the month, I got like nothing. Like, why? That's your person. Why can't you keep your money? Why can't you direct your money? And instead of like, let's work on a mindset around like, no, it's you are a bad manager of your money because in the beginning of the month, you got goals, and by the end of the month, you don't follow one of them. What's going on? You know,
you're not really looking at budget the wrong way. It's reframing, but yeah, knowing what you're doing and looking at why. But that's a whole different topic. I'm talking about budgeting today. Part of my podcast, I'll talk about budgeting, but you're right. I mean, if you're gonna start a budget, understand it's to take control of your money and expand it, but also like know why versus like you said, you start and you stop. You're like you're not really going to why you want to do. So yeah.
yeah. But from where people are like, you know, well, we really need to find the deep rooted cause of why money, and it's like just get to the point, you know, and don't be over clever and
You're the
don't.
worst therapist of all time. She was mean to me. Why? She was listening to all your crap for 20 minutes. Like, why are you here? Go. Come on. I ain't got time. All right. Let's get to the point.
But that's how I am,
why
though.
you're broke? Because you don't listen to me.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and anyone that has worked with me, if they're watching at some point, that I will say that tells me nothing. I will literally, when they try to give me like 3 paragraphs around what they do, and I'm like, you could have told me that in a single sentence, but after those 3 paragraphs, like that still tells me nothing.
Right.
Like, so I have that side of my brain that just needs it clean and clear. That's all.
Is that the left side of your brain? That's the analytical, and the right side's the one that's more like emotion, whatever I think it is. I forget. Yeah, the left side's analytical. You're like, no, boom, boom, boom. Then we can talk about everything, which is good. It's, people need that just get going, and then we can, as we go along, address the deep root stuff. You know, initially. But I like that. It's different. Yeah. Wow. All right. For a lot of people, if you don't know what you're doing, Elena will help you, and she'll right to the point within 5 minutes. It made me feel comfortable.
That's why I have a focus. I have a focus workshop. We do it the first Tuesday. We did it last night. We do it the first Tuesday of every month. We take the big creative dreams, the world of possibility, because I live there too. I see the grand vision. Yeah. All the, we could do this. It's like, okay, but now we got to take that and like get some action steps. Let's get it cleaned up. And what do we focus on this month? So that's, I kind of merged that.
Yeah, that's good to have for people that may not be the best, may not be the God most organized,
Mhm.
and just need like here's one, two, three.
Yeah.
Do that, then we can do four, five, and six. Then we can do seven, eight, nine, and then a lot of people are stuck in. It's a balance.
Yeah.
It's a balance of you got to have the big vision, along with all right, what are you doing on a daily basis, and then look back, you review every week, every month, and see where you're at, and understand that it's a journey. Success is, I've especially in the entrepreneurial world, and you could agree with this. We think, at least when I was in school, success is A to B. I do this, I go to B, and it's done. And instead, it's like you're here, you're backwards, upside down, flip, you sideways, this, and then suddenly you're at the end. You're like, how did I get here? What's going on? And then your story has life challenges. Life's like, you want B? All right. There's an affair. They die. And then new stuff, and you don't have the money. And then, you sure you still want to go to B? I don't know. I don't. I mean, I am waiting on. I got more for you. And you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I like it. I like it. I like it. So and then when you come to someone, okay, so let's say someone's already in business, right?
Hmm.
If they're already in business, do you help with like getting clarity on what is that they're doing to help with the revenue, or is it like, oh, let me a better question. If someone already has the business and they're coming to you, how can you help them?
Okay. Normally, when somebody comes to me in their business, they're not getting the results that they are looking for. And we actually break some things down in the beginning. Number one, I like to look at the numbers. And I'm talking numbers as far as how many people do you really have to be in touch with in order to get like 10 people to a webinar? Like you got to reach out to like 400, 500 people by the time you drill down percentages to get so many people buy-ins. And nobody talks about that huge number because it can be scary.
Yeah,
But I like to go there and I like to break that down. I have a nifty little spreadsheet that calculates all kinds of percentages, but I like to break that down because it helps reinforce to the person that reached out to 20 people that maybe didn't get anybody there, like, because 20 is not enough. You
mm,
know, when I look at, so we start there. Like, what have you done? And to me, we don't change anything until you've tried it at least 3 times. And nothing is really working unless you've successfully sold something 3 times you've ran it. So these people that come out and do something one time and then they come back and tweak everything and then they go again, it's like you have no baseline. You have no way of telling if something's working for you or not. Let's do it a couple times, make minor tweaks along the way, but only until then are you going to know. And really until you've done it several times, do you actually get good at it?
yeah,
So we kind of like come back to the drawing board and look at what's been working, what's not been working, who's showing up to
yeah,
what kind of people. So I really like start there and then we just kind of go out and redo a launch. Now, I don't come in and claim to teach you how to do sales and all of that. Like I don't take it to the marketing and the sales. I'm actually looking at what the hell are you doing? You can't market anything if you don't know what you're doing. You can't
yeah,
get good at sales if you don't get clear on what you're doing. So I'm in that very beginning stage of when I ask people, who is your target? What problem do you solve? And it's just so fuzzy. So it's like, okay, we got to reel that in. Let's lock it in until it feels in alignment with who you are. And again, your spiritual gifts. Why are you helping somebody over here when that's not even what you like enjoy doing, but maybe somebody told you? So I work with people right in that beginning phase so they can lock it in and they're confident. And that's one of the things. To me, there's 4 C's. When
mm,
people talk about you need confidence, but nobody tells you how you build confidence.
yeah,
Well, you have to get competent. And that's not a fun word. That's not a sexy word. But even in money, even when my husband died and I didn't know all these things, I was not confident. Going into meetings, I wanted to hide. I didn't want anybody asking me questions because I wasn't competent over any of it. So even in your business, the more competent you can get around what you do, who you do it for, how you do it, what makes you the best, like the more
yeah,
competent you are, then you're confident. Anybody can ask you any question about what you do at any time and you have an answer. So now you're confident. And the more confident you are, then you have courage. And now you can go out and knock on the doors. Now you can say, hey, this is how I can help you. Like, you can talk about it courageously because you're confident. Why? Because you are so competent in everything that you're doing, and then you just stay consistent. So those are my 4 C's. But where people are lacking is they feel that they need more confidence, or they feel like they're afraid to talk to people. And it's like, because you don't know what the hell you're not competent in what you're actually doing. So I get passionate. That's where I'm at. That's where I help people in that very bubble of starting out. So even if they've been in business and it's not gone well, we go back to those places and just get that bubble solid, and then they take off. So
back to the basics. The basics
yep.
versus I've been hearing like, well, what's your foundation first? And then looking at that. I like that.
Yeah.
That's
I talked about that the other night. Well, actually, I think it was just last night. Like, even, when you think of it as if you can tell something's not right in your body, but you're not really sure what, a lot of times they'll do blood work. They'll get a baseline. Where are you at today? And let's just check out some levels. And then let's just kind of monitor and come back in a couple of weeks, and we'll do it again. We'll see if things go up or if things go down. It's no different in your business. We've got to, if it's not doing well, we got to get that baseline, and then we can see what's working for you and what's not. So.
Yeah, the foundation. Something people don't talk about. And then if it's not talked about, I feel like it's something that's not focused on, or people don't want to focus on so much because it's not the sexiest thing. It's like, it's a basis, but it's where everything comes from. So it may not be the best thing, but it's most important.
I love that you use the word sexy, because I have a free challenge. It's actually called Bring Sexy Back to Your Small Business. And I use the SEXY. That's my acronym for my framework.
Well, what's that about? Let's go there. Let's talk about it. Is it
everything I just told you? We actually talk about your schedule and your stats. So I will have you set a relaunch date. I have you pick a date out so many weeks out, and you just set it. Whether you have an offer right now or not, we are setting something. But we talk about scheduling our stats, and then we look at your experience and your expertise, and then we talk about the things that make you exclusive, and then YOLO. That's the why. Now we're courageous. You only live once, and the assignment that I give you terrifies the hell out of you, but it gets you clients.
Yo, can I be a part of this challenge too? Because this sounds fun.
Yeah, it's free. It's free. You can come on in.
Is it running right now, or when is it going to run again, or do you have like cohorts to go through?
There's you can come into it and it's recorded where stuff's already there, but I usually run one about every 5 to 6 weeks. We do it again. So
I join the fresh one, because I need to talk to Elena, not on the screen. I'm like, nah, come on, Elena. Me at this point. I'm not some random person like a sexy challenge. What's that? Oh my god, that's great. No.
It's fun. It is fun. If anybody's tuning in for that, it's fun. We do you get bonus points, and you get crowns, and you're on a leaderboard, and man, people are working to get those crowns, and
You've used gamification successfully in something. That's what it is. And people don't realize like that shit works, and it's addictive. I would know. I'm a game. I play PlayStation. Yes, I don't care. When there's gamification that works well in something, you will go put so much effort into it because it's giving this illusion of progress. But when you see it in your business, but yes, how did you? Wow, I like that. That's smart. The sexy challenge.
Yep. Yeah, bring sexy back to your small business. Yep.
Yeah, because wow. All right, I learned something new today. Shoot.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll make sure to let you know when I run it next.
Yeah, I can throw it in here. Like, go get your sexy back in your business. Okay, let's do it, everybody. Let's go. You know what I mean? That's cool. How long is the challenge for? Is it like a month-long thing, or is it like most times I think are like 5 days or something?
5 days.
5 days.
I push you. Because to me, it's like commit 5 days. Let's go. You get something every day. Here's how it runs. I show up live at like 7 a.m. every morning, and I give a quick, here's your daily task and to do. I break it down, and then I give you the worksheets, and you look at it And then I make myself available every evening on Zoom, and we can meet up and talk about, you know, what it is. So every single day you are getting something, but the challenge is showing up. You get crowns for showing up. You get crowns for this. And man, people are there. People are setting their alarms. Like I'm Eastern time.
Yeah.
And when I first did this, I would go live at 6 a.m. Because of my work schedule at that time when I first started. And I had I call her Queen. Her name's Barbara.
Oh.
We just go all in, and it is fun. It is fun, but does my internet, it runs like 5 days.
It get choppy. I don't know if I froze it. I was like, no, this is the good stuff. Don't pause now.
But yeah, so it's a 5 day, like you go all in, and then we even break down personalities, the people that are motivated by fun, the people that need the stats, and you know, just all different stuff. But yeah.
Wow. Good. Oh, your book. You have a book series, or is it one book, you said?
So this is the first book in the series.
Okay.
This is a series. This one has stories of comeback queens, other women featuring their comeback story, but I'm actually in the process of the kings version.
Okay.
I have men writing their comeback stories right now, and then we'll come back to the queen. Like it's just gonna, because then we have a live event in Texas called Surrender to Rise coming up in September, and it's just gonna grow and grow and grow. So
I like it. Comeback kings, comeback queens.
yeah.
I like it. I'll have to get both copies. Is it on Amazon and Kindle, the first one?
First one, I recommend going to showyourcrown.com. And then you can click on one of our photos and just buy the book from us. So
gotcha. I like that. Cool.
That supports us a little bit more than going to
Amazon.
another outlet.
Amazon, this is so much easier. I want to go to there. Show your crown. Amazon, it's already done. Come on, Elena. Come on. Nah, I get it. That makes sense. Cool. Other than that, ma'am, I appreciate you for being on. It's been good conversation.
Thank you.
Anything that you want to share with people? And then last thing I'll say is, how can they reach you if they're like, hey, I need to work with her and get back to basics and bring sexy back into my business?
I love that. Well, the one thing I'm going to say is that I do believe in dreams. And if, for whoever is tuning in, if an idea is in your mind, if an idea hits you, even if it's just a whisper of an idea, you're chosen for it.
Yeah.
So don't ignore it. And whether it's crazy big, scares the hell out of you, seems like so off the wall, like whatever it is, most people will probably think you're nuts. And I love that space. You are not nuts. You're chosen for it. So that's the first thing. And to reach me, showyourcrown.com. But I'm on Facebook as me, like that's where all my followers are. And I'm just on my personal profile page. But if you want to check out my website, it is showyourcrown.com. But I do have a free community that is off social media, and it's called Divine Awakening Central.com. And it's actually there that I have my sexy back challenge and stuff. So
I like it.
Yeah. So people can just go to divineawakeningcentral.com and you'll be invited in. We've got a little over 80 people in there right now. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nice. There you have it. Well, Elena, I thank you for being on. And everyone else, thank you for listening to this, whether watching live or in the replay. It's been fun. We'll have to do this again for your next project and things come up, more stuff you can share with people. This has been fun. And this is Elena Rodriguez, the comeback queen, who's been through a lot to show you that regardless of what you're going through, you can get through it and thrive after that. That's the important part. It doesn't have to just, beat you down and be like, oh, and be, have PTSD. You can be like, no, I went through it. I took my pain. I put in something that's going to give value to people. And that's what I like about your thing. It's like you went through and like, no, I'm going to put us on out in the world and be like, yo, let's do this. Let's run together. We only got so much time on planet Earth. Let's do this.
Yes. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yay. Thank you, Matt.
You're very welcome, everyone else. See you next episode. Thanks, Lena.
Thanks.